Good afternoon, anti-novelists and friends. Welcome back to another episode of Zettelkasten for fiction writers. What are we looking at? We're looking at chapter 9, somewhere around page 300, and that, my friends, right there is an example of one of my mobile decks. If you've been around here a while, you know these are just little collections of cards that I use as I'm out in the world. Sometimes I cut them in half and use mini cards. Sometimes I use full-size cards. Sometimes these represent plot beats or plot points in a story, and I just slot them in where I think they might go. This is just a super handy little portable deck that I built when I was first writing my novel. You can see there's Acts 1, 2, Act 3, and Act 4. So yeah, this one is specific to my novel, but we're not working with that today. What are we doing today? Today, I'm offering you a challenge. Some of you might know that I used to participate in a certain November book writing challenge. We won't say its name, but you all know you know what I'm talking about. I don't participate in that anymore for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is I have my own stuff to do with you guys. So here's what we're going to do. I don't want to challenge you to write a certain massive number of words within the space of a month. I don't want to challenge you to finish a body of work and put a time limit on it. For me, that feels like too much pressure. I don't like that. Instead, we're going to start tiny. We're going to start with something that I refer to over later in chapter 9, something that I call the experience collection. Remember when I talked about the experience collection and how it can become a writer's superpower? Because it is simply the way in which you train your writer's eye on the things around you over the course of a day, and you collect things that might be useful for your writing later. So what could that look like? Well, let's look inside of chapter 9 and see. If I go down here to module 3, the experience collection, you'll see one of the first ones that I've dotted is a sense of place. How might you capture a sense of place? Well, you're going to employ your senses. It could be smell, it could be sounds, it could be something happening in the background, something you're observing that elicits the atmosphere of a place. You get to decide because you're the writer. But if you're turning your writer's eye towards collecting things from your experience to put into your experience collection, it's going to be anything that catches your attention that you think might be useful. Yours will be different from mine, but we'll get to that in a minute. The next thing that I have flagged is the prompt list, which, let's see, in the book it says this is on page 343. Now this is still the typeset draft, so that could change. But what's on the prompt list? Well, in the book I give you a whole bunch of experience things. Things like an abduction, an adoption, being arrested, having an argument, a break-in, bad news, making an escape, discrimination, failure. Those are all experiences that if you have a memory of these things, if you have observed these things, let's say, for example, you have just read a fantastic book, or maybe you watched an amazing movie, and within those stories, something caught your attention. Maybe it was an escape. You want to capture that in your own words, in your experience collection, so that you can find your way back to that inspiring thing. That's the whole point of the collection, is to keep you using your writer's eye to collect the details around you and to save them in such a way that you can go back and find them later and use them in your work. So what else do I have on here for you? Another goodie that I have is what if you go about collecting dialogue? I've made a few notes: conversation, argument, question, accusation, concern, or interrogation. These are all kinds of dialogue that you could have from memory. You could imagine them. You could observe them in real life. You could observe them in another media like a movie or television. Whatever you find that catches your writer's mind, a piece of dialogue or a statement, something funny, something quippy, some kind of banter between characters. Maybe they're talking in your head. Maybe you're observing it. I don't know. It's up to you. You're capturing those things so that you can use them later. Now, how am I going to do this? This is where we switch over to Victoria, former crafter. So here's what I've done. I literally took the envelope that my Kathleen Spracklin newsletter arrived in. I took 2 note cards. I used those note cards as templates, right? And I cut out 1, 2, 3, 4, because right, there's a front and a back. So I cut out 2 sets of cardboard dividers. Then I grabbed 4 metal discs because I love these discs. I grabbed a greeting card from my dear friend and I cut the front off of it. This is one way that I recycle greeting cards. I put a little washi-washi, okay, a little washi-washi on here because this is obviously short. And then I put a big washi-washi down this side, and this is one layer of my FedEx divider. And then I've gone ahead and I've created one experience collection card to get me started. So I have a section that are lined cards, and you can see if I go back to another one of my FedEx mailer dividers, I've added a section for blank cards because sometimes in my experience collection, I find myself doodling out maps or maybe ideas that I want to represent in some kind of drawing or sketch. So I like to have some blank cards in the back of my little mobile deck. But this is my new experience collection deck that I will be using. No spoilers, I'll tell you about that in a minute. But here's my sample card. This one is called Chicken Coop Marauders. I've dated it 2025.1022 for today. Notice I've put my date on the second line down because what I might do is I might, after the end of this exercise, decide where this card actually gets installed in my Zettelkasten, and I'll want to put that address up here with maybe my keyword that says chicken coop or whatever so that I can find this card again. But for right now, it just gets the date so that I know what date it happened. Here's my note. Raccoons chewing off the eye hook used to lock the coop door. I noticed this actually yesterday, but I'm using it for today. Splintered wood, claw marks on the door, poop on the ramp. That was real nice to find. Thank you guys. And then I made myself a funny note that just occurred to me. What if the hens call a committee meeting to discuss the attack? I found that hilarious, so I wrote it down. That is my first capture in my new experience collection deck. Now, what am I going to do with this? Well, for those of you in LiLLiPub, my writers community, over here in the LiLLiPub, we're going to issue a challenge beginning November 1st, whereby, here's your challenge. I want everyone to capture 1 experience card per day. Hold on, I got a cough. Woo, I apologize for that. I've got a frog or something, a chicken in my throat. So, the challenge is everybody capture 1 experience per day. It can be a piece of dialogue. It can be something you've imagined. It could be a bit of something you've observed. It could be something off of your prompt list. Totally up to you. Maybe you're just sitting at your desk. You're looking at all of the chaos on your desk. And maybe your experience card has something to do with clearing your space in order to find peace of mind. I don't know. They're your experiences. Capture what you want. But you get the gist of it. And what we're going to do is over in LiLLiPub, if you are a member, we're each going to post our experiences. Because what I want to do, number 1, I want to prompt you to write. But number 2, I want you to have meetable goals. And that means just 1 little experience per day. That's all you have to do. Do that for 1 month and we're all going to end up with 30 cards if we do 1 a day. And that's going to give us enough to then invite another opportunity, which is you prove to me that you're a writer by doing some experience collection cards, and I'm going to boot camp you into a workshop, and we're going to take those cards and I'm going to show you how to turn them into prose. Cool stuff. So that's where we are. We're starting the experience collection challenge. It begins on November 1st. This is 2025. I will be posting more about it in the coming week. If you want to build yourself your own little mobile deck rather than a disc system, you could simply hole punch the upper left-hand corner and thread these onto a book ring, or simply use a packet of note cards and just rubber band them together. Again, I don't care how you do it. Let's just get some writing onto the cards, start collecting some experiences, and start working towards that rough draft challenge. So that's all I have for you today. I will post a little bit more about this, give you some more guidelines, give you some mile markers. I've got a cheat sheet for you, which will be a free downloadable that will be available on November 1st. I might make it available the night before, but we'll see. So if this sounds exciting, give me a thumbs up and a comment. Let me know this is something you want to participate in. You don't have to be in my community. You can just play along with us. Either way, everybody's welcome. But let's get some writing done and let's do it together. So that's it for today. Take care, and I'll see you next time.